What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to Philly with John Marks, right here live on PHLY. As always, presented by the Bet Parks app. What is up? How about this? Game friggin' 3. Phillies and Mets. Citi Field. Later this afternoon or early this evening. I just kind of put two and two together. I forgot it wasn't a night game. And Tuesday nights is softball practice for my daughter. Yeah, 5:30 softball practice, 5 o'clock game. My wife does not work. She has to go into the office on Tuesdays, which means guess who's going to be going to softball practice at 5:30 tonight? Me, unless we don't go to practice, and that's not an option. We have to go to practice. So Tyler Zulli, I am going to be, yes, I'm going to be on my phone, probably catching balls at first base, because I am a quasi-assistant coach on the team.
So I got to ask you. There's other coaches on this team, I presume, right?
The assistant coaches haven't been there the last couple practices.
The question I'm asking is, are they not Phillies fans? Are they not baseball fans? Because you would think, hey, we're going to move practice.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I would have looked ahead and been like, hey, maybe we bump practice up a little bit so I can catch the end of the game. Like, even though people are still ripping me for going to Target during the fifth inning of game 2. If it was a 5 o'clock start and it's an hour of practice, I'm home. I'm not missing a ton of the game. I'm missing the first couple of innings. I'm seeing the fifth inning, sixth inning on. Some people may say, and listen, I started looking at my Twitter mentions for the first time in years, and they're mean. So I'm sure people are going to be saying, well, like, you just don't go to practice. This is what you do for a living. This is your job. Like, well, okay. So I'm going to tell my kid, like, no, we're not going to softball practice because the Phillies are playing. I mean, it's an option. For sure, it's an option. It's not really my style. We don't miss practice.
No. You don't miss practice. I'm not saying you
but
hold
I have
your
to
kid out
I
of
have
practice.
To take her.
What I'm saying is the coaching staff should have gotten together and said, let's reassign this to another day.
Yeah, we're limited in the practice, on the fields to practice for the days and times. And I think if maybe we've had some really, really good practices. These girls need to learn fundamentals, basics, things like that.
Sure.
So this has been spring training the last 2 weeks because the other coaches haven't been there. Coach Kevin and I, we've been working on sliding. We've been working on throwing the second, throwing the first. We've been working a lot on the tee. I mean, for 8, 9, 10-year-old girls, they've been getting a lot of reps here the last couple weeks. But yes, I'm going to miss the friggin' Phillies playoff game, which I don't want to do. I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. But anyway.
Yeah, yes, you do. You know what you're going to do.
I'm going to go to practice, and I'm going to be watching on my phone.
You're going to be dad. You're going to be coach. You're going to do what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
And that's what you're going to do.
Yes. Yeah, that is what I'm going to do, unfortunately. Yeah, so I was thinking about this morning. Actually, I pick out my clothes. You pick out your clothes the night before. Tyler, are you a morning of?
No, I'm a morning of, roll out of bed type of guy.
Yeah. All right.
Which my wife probably hates. Now that I'm getting up earlier than her in the morning,
waking her up,
she probably hates the fact that I do that. But
you're 8 months. She's 8 months pregnant.
And she's also 8 months pregnant. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
So, as an experienced person that's worked in the mornings or the morning show, I like to be organized. All right. So my clothes are picked out the night before. I place them downstairs, so I get dressed downstairs. My toothbrush, I will transfer to my daughter's bathrooms, the hall bathroom, so I don't really disturb anybody. So I'm prepared in the morning. And so I'm looking last night, and I'm like, well, what am I going to wear tomorrow? Because I don't have a ton of Phillies gear. I definitely have more Eagles stuff than Phillies stuff. But the majority of Phillies stuff that I have, they're T-shirts. Like, go figure. They play in the friggin' middle of the summer, the heart of the summer. So, yeah, I have more Phillies T-shirts than anything else, which doesn't really work with where I am right now. The studio that we're in, Studio 2 here at PHLY, is cold. And as I've gotten older, Tyler, I'm cold. I'm very cold. I'm like the old people. It's like, well, it's 85 degrees out. Why do you have a blanket and a sweatshirt on? Oh, well, it's cold. So for me to come in here in just a T-shirt is difficult. So I'm wearing a sweatshirt. Underneath the sweatshirt is a Red October t-shirt from last year. And this hat is a Phillies hat. This was the 4th of July Phillies hat a couple years ago that I liked that has the mesh back. But I feel like if I wear this forward, is that okay to wear it forward? I was unsure of if it would block the eyes or whatever.
Oh, you mean from like a camera concentration standpoint?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you're good. Jamie wears hats all the time.
Yeah, I guess he does. So I'm good if I wear it like that.
Yeah, you wear it however you want.
All right, because I'm a big proponent on game days. Unlike Mike Missinelli that wants everybody that works in the media to be a distinguished member of the media. I'm not. I'm not going to the press box wearing Phillies stuff. So I wanted to wear Phillies gear today, but I don't have enough of it. And the only thing, because I wore my Phillies sweatshirt the other day, and I can't wear that again today, I have a Steve Jeltz jersey that I could wear. Potentially, I could have worn like a long sleeve underneath it.
Somebody pay you to take that?
I bought it off of eBay. We had a bad jersey party.
Okay.
And I was looking for an inexpensive bad jersey, and it's actually an awesome, authentic powder blue Steve Jeltz autographed rookie jersey. It's his rookie number. So I've had people say, "Hey, that's not his number," and I'm like, "Was his rookie year?" If you don't know who Steve Jeltz is, and I hope he doesn't watch this. He was not a great player during some not so great teams in the 80s. He kind of became, for me, the symbol of the Phillies in the 80s, which was just not a great team at all.
I think he almost has a cult following now because of like you just said, like time and place type of structure, and you're removed from that team. I feel like he almost has a cult following now. Yeah.
I would say mostly because of me. I'll go to Phillies games in Jeltz jersey, and I'll have people all game screaming at me because they realize I'm the only idiot that would have a Steve Jeltz jersey.
Well, you know Pat Gallen, of course, right? Pat Gallen does the jersey watch on Twitter. You've probably made the list at some point, I would think.
I saw the Matt Caesar jersey that somebody had before game 2, Matt Caesar. So I don't have a ton of gear, man. So I'm gonna have to. My wife makes apparel and stuff. I got to get her to get me a hoodie or something like that to wear in here. And I've noticed you never wear Tyler Zulli never wears any Philly stuff or Eagle stuff.
I will not wear Phillies gear when I'm covering the Phillies on the Phillies show. That's my one separator. But I will wear. You've seen me in Union gear. I most of my Eagles gear is cold weather, so I haven't broken it out yet.
What are you afraid of? What exactly are you afraid of?
Nothing.
Of wearing Phillies gear during the Phillies
nothing.
show.
It's just,
too much of a fan?
It's my one separator. Yeah, it's my one fan work separator. That's it. I mean, you saw the video of us the other day. We went nuts.
I know you did.
When Nick Castellanos, ended up with the walk-off, right? We're still fans. Don't get me wrong. I'm still. That's my team. I mean, that's the team I grew up on. That's my diehard ride or die team. That's my one separator with this job is I won't wear the Phillies gear on the Phillies show.
All right. I'm not a jerk. Even though I have the Jeltz jersey, that was just kind of because of the stupid show that we were doing that I got a Jeltz jersey. I have an AJ Brown Eagles jersey that the Eagles gave us because I was working at WIP and on the flagship. So Ike got the Devontae Smith. I got last pick. And not that AJ Brown's a bad jersey, but he took Devontae, and I think Jack got a hold of somebody before I was able to grab it. But anyway, I have a ton of Eagles gear. I have a ton of Eagles hoodies. I don't have a ton of Philly stuff, so I got to get on that. There, Tyler Zulli. Well, listen, Game 3's tonight. I feel pretty much as confident as I think any Phillies fan could feel going into this game. It was a terrifying offensive performance through 13 innings, 14 innings of the first 2 games, and then they woke up and things looked much differently. So I don't know how they're gonna look tonight. I don't know how they're gonna come up. Sean Manaea is on the mound. He's a lefty, changes the dynamic. We'll see if Rob Thompson makes some lineman adjustments with that, and we'll talk about that coming up here in the update in a second. But a lot of people may focus today. And maybe even a WIP show, maybe oh, is this Aaron Nola's biggest start of his career? If the Phillies are going to win tonight, it's going to be because of Aaron Nola. I couldn't disagree more. I literally couldn't disagree more. I'm pretty confident Aaron Nola is going to give you 5 to 6 innings and 3 or 4 earned runs. That's what I would target, and I would say is an Aaron Nola start tonight. This isn't the regular season. 5 2/3, 4 runs. 5 2/3, 3 runs. I'm not saying that that's a great start, That's my expectation of Aaron Nola. And it's not because I'm negative on Nola. People will say, oh, well, Mark, you're negative on Nola. I think I'm more realistic on Aaron Nola. He's been really good in the clutch. He's been really good in the playoffs. He also hasn't been really good in the playoffs in some spots. But for the most part, I have confidence that he's going to come out and he's going to keep you in the game. I need Aaron Nola to keep the Phillies in the game tonight.
He's made 9 career postseason starts. He's thrown 48 and 2/3 innings over those 9 starts. So if you if you do that quick math, it's somewhere in between 5 and 6 innings pitched per start. He struck out 50 over 48, so his Ks per 9 is just over 9. His walks are fairly low, 1.7. He's given up. I think he's given up 2, 4, 6 home runs in 9 starts, but all 6 of them have actually come in 3 starts. If you remember, he wasn't particularly good against the Padres in the NLCS in Game 2. He struggled in that one, went 4 and 2/3. He gave up 2 home runs in the start to end the season, Game 7 last year against the.
But he was much better before that.
Correct. He had he went 10 and 1/3 innings in 2 starts against the Diamondbacks. He has a 3.7 ERA across the course of his postseason career. I think you kind of know exactly the start that Aaron Nola is going to give you today, and it's a start that should keep you buoyed. It should keep you calm. It should keep you in the game. You're looking at probably, like you said, somewhere in the realm of 5 to 7, probably in the middle, closer to the middle at 6, 2 to 3 earned runs, probably 6 or 7 strikeouts, a walk, maybe 2,
and probably a home run,
and a solo home run to boot, right? And if you know kind of going in, assuming the outliers don't hit, either he's dominant and he goes 7 scoreless, or he gets crushed and he goes 3+. Assuming the outliers don't hit, the likelihood is you kind of know exactly what game you're getting yourself into and how you need to win this game. To me, that's a calming place to be on the road in a series tied, where your series is now it's a 3-game series.
Right.
You know, where you have to win. You have to win one game on the road. You have to win at least one game on the road.
And tonight's the night to do it, right? But like, you don't win the night. I'm not gonna be like the series is over.
Of course,
because it's not. But yeah, like and Tyler, I agree with you. I think that, like, would I be surprised if Nola gave up 5 runs tonight? I would not be surprised.
I would if he gave up 5.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gave up 2 runs or 1 run over 7 innings. But for the most part, I would bet on him, like we're talking about, 5 or 6 innings and keeping you in the game. My point about saying to that is that this game tonight is about the offense in the bullpen. This game tonight is about Trey Turner. This game tonight is about JT Realmuto. Trey Turner has been okay. Like he had 2 hits. He hasn't been total dog crap in the first 2 games of this series. JT Realmuto is 0 for 6, and he's kind of been cold since he's come back. I mean, he hasn't had a big offensive impact towards the end of the season. And when you have a left-handed starter that's taking the mound tonight, like Manaea, you need the righties to make him pay. And I don't know if you can ask Nick Castellanos again for the performance that he gave you in Game 2. At some point, other guys got to step up. And Trey Turner had 2 hits. What's his impact been? Scoring runs? You need more of an impact from Trey Turner. So to me, tonight the game is offense. We need runs. The Phillies need runs, because you need enough runs to where then we're talking about the bullpen. And you've used Strom a lot. You didn't use Hoffman in the last game. Rob Thompson's talking about Jose Alvarado, and he has not used him in the postseason so far. And he's probably going to have to use him today, depending on how far that Nola will take you for the start. So you're going to probably have some uncomfortable situations here. This bullpen needs to do better than it has, just flat out. They've been a good bullpen all year long. The postseason happens. It's different in the postseason. If the Phillies are going to win tonight, I can't imagine the bullpen's giving up 4 or 5 runs and the Phillies win, because then it would have to be a major offensive explosion. Offense, Trey Turner, JT, Austin Hayes, is he getting the start tonight? We'll talk about that coming up in a second. I think he is. I need some impact, man. Need some impact. But All right, let's get the latest. Let's go to the headlines with Tyler Zulli. Tyler, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? So actually, we'll figure this thing out finally, and now there we are. Hey, we did it. Yeah, I think that you're probably right. Austin Hayes will get the start today. We'll talk more about it throughout the show. But our headlines, as always, is brought to us by the Glatt Hair Restoration, because Glatt Hair isn't just about restoration; it's about innovation. The breakthrough treatments really do dramatically change your lives, and if you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself, Glatt Hair is the right treatment for you. Visit GlattHairMCTR.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started. So yesterday, the National League was off. It was the American League's time to shine. In yesterday's game, it was game 2 for both the Tigers and Guardians, and the Yankees and the Royals. Will start with the early game. Detroit beats the Cleveland Guardians 3-0, and it was all thanks to basically one swing of the bat and 7 really good innings from the future Cy Young Award winner in the American League. Tarek Skubal goes 7 innings in this one. He gives up just 3 hits. He strikes out 8. He continues to shine in his postseason debut. The Tigers have won both of the starts that he has made so far this year. For the Guardians, it was Matthew Boyd. He got into the 5th. He wasn't bad either. He struck out 5, gave up just 6 base runners, and the bullpen was good throughout until they brought it to the best closer in baseball. A little bit of a stunning situation here, as Emmanuel Clase had not given up a home run to a left-handed hitter all year. Kerry Carpenter steps to the plate with a runner on, with 2 runners on and 2 outs, or 1 out in this particular instance, and finally somebody breaks through. And I say finally, not like I'm excited about it, but for baseball sense, it was an incredible theater. Somebody breaks through off of Emmanuel Clase. This is how it sounded on TBS.
Pitch is swung on, a high fly ball to right field. This one is gonna fly! A 3-run home run! Kerry Carpenter! The Tigers up 3-0 as Carpenter, an emphatic, towering fly ball home run.
So how about that? The Tigers take game 2, 3-0. They'll head back to Detroit for games 3 and 4 in this one. So the ALDS on that side is tied up. That was a great baseball game to watch. Stephen Kwan, an inning prior, made a tremendous diving save to keep the game tied at 0. And then Clase gets hit around really for the first time all year. He had a .48 whip against left-handed hitters this season.
Wow.
Let me say that again. .48. That means he's given up 1 base runner every 2 innings pitched. That's crazy.
Yeah, dominant stuff. Great ending. Yeah, the games have been great so far. They have. That was great yesterday. Or last night. So
the Guardians, the Tigers go to 1-1. Well, the series goes to 1-1. The Tigers take game 2. The Yankees also fall in yet last night's game. They lose to the Kansas City Royals, who tie this one up at 1 game apiece as well. The Royals win 4-2. Cole Reagans gets into the 5th. He gives up 1 earned run, but it was the Royals bullpen that really shut things down. They went 5 shutout innings, gave up just 5 innings of 1-run ball. Lucas Erceg gave up a run in the 9th. But 5 innings, 1-run ball, gave up just 4 hits, struck out 3. The Royals now tie things up at 1 apiece. Now, John, this is the first time ever that all 4 DS games are tied at 1 apiece heading into game 3. Mm-hmm. That is insane to think about. This is the first time that has ever happened in Major League Baseball history since the DS was expanded, or it was the league was expanded to DS play, that all 4 games are tied 1 apiece heading into game 3.
Major League Baseball must be very happy with all that. Yeah, it's great. The series have been great. Baseball's been, and I know I'm paying much more attention because the Phillies have been in the playoffs the last 3 years, but if your team's in the playoffs and you're like, wow, you know what, baseball's great, you hope that a lot of other people are catching it from out of market.
So I said to JP earlier in this morning before we were getting set up, he goes, man, these games have been incredible. And I said, yeah, I've really enjoyed 6 of the 8 of them. And he goes, well, which 2 didn't? And I said, the 2 Phillies games that my heart is palpitating through my chest. But no, in all reality, like if we talked about it yesterday, if you stripped away your Philly fandom or your Met fandom from game 2 on Sunday night, that was incredible baseball theater, back and forth, punch, counter punch. And the playoffs have kind of been that way. It's been a lot of low-scoring games, really good pitching. Tarek Skubal's been awesome for Detroit. Cole Reagans has been good. 10 innings pitched, 2 earned runs over his 2 starts for Kansas City. It's been pitching for the most part. Now Phillies and Mets bullpen struggled a little bit in game 2, but it's basically been pitching for a bulk of the postseason so far.
Yeah, it has. You're right. There's been a lot of well-pitched games, entertaining games too, not boring well-pitched games. Genuinely, I think
live on every pitch type games.
If you're a baseball fan, you have to be loving these games. Jake Brown, who is a longtime Mets podcaster up in New York, is going to join us coming up here in like 3 minutes to talk about what's going on up in New York. He's actually going to both the Yankees and the Mets game today because I asked him, like, "Yo, can you come on?" And he's like, "Well, I got an 11 o'clock train." So I got to go to both games today. And I'm like, yeah, sure. You're good. He's going to join us coming up. The perspective from New York City. He was also at game 2. So we'll see how his experience was in Citizens Bank Park as a Met fan in game 2. Also, the Chiefs won last night, Monday Night Football. A pretty boring game just because Derek Carr got knocked out and the Saints stink. So
I'll be honest with you. If it wasn't Monday night and we knew Monday Night Football was played every week, I probably would have forgot the game was on. I had no interest.
Yeah,
playoff baseball has consumed my life.
Yeah, it was. I definitely didn't get to it to the second quarter. Not that I forgot about it, but I was just like, I hate watching the Saints. I hate watching the NFC South. I hate the Saints. Saints stink. Derek Carr stinks. I hate it. And all of a sudden, that the Eagles win against the Saints doesn't look as good anymore, does it? Because they're back under 500.
All wins are wins, man.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It counts all the same. But after the win, it was like, yeah, but look at that. The defense was awesome. They stopped the Saints. Saints stink. Anyway, all right. So Jake's going to join us coming up in a second. But listen, let's talk about Dr. Glatt for a second. People was this somebody on the chat here was saying, like, what's up with the hat? What's up with the backwards hat? Well, I mean, I don't know, man. Just because I'm 47 doesn't mean that I have to act like I'm 47. This is how I wore hats growing up. Backwards hat, snapback. Bryce Harper wears a backwards snapback hat, right? So, yeah, I think I look good in it. But anyway, like, I don't have to wear the hat because the hair looks great. I decided today to wear the Phillies hat because the Phillies are playing, but I don't have to do that. And that's because my hair looks amazing. And wasn't that many years ago that I wasn't thinking about shaving my head, or I did shave my head. It's like, I'm just going to shave it or whatever. And I'm not an attractive man, bald. I'm kind of scary looking. That's why I'm so glad I talked to Dr. Glatt and his hair team. Well, now it's Glatt Hair Restoration. Hair team is still killing it. When I'm talking about results, right? Like, if you want your hair back, you can have your hair back. That's what Dr. Glatt, that's what the hair restoration procedure is. I had it done. You can see my before and after pictures. Just go to my Instagram page, John Marks Media, and you'll see it. You'll see real life photos of just everything that I'm doing, the videos that I take, everything else, what it looks like on the show. That's my hair. And that's Glatt Hair Restoration by Morgenstern Medical. It's state of the art. Like the most experience and the most success when it comes to hair restoration. That's what you get when it comes to Glatt hair. And it's more than just hair restoration. There's non-invasive treatments that really, really help with shedding and balding. Topical oral medications, PRP stem cell restoration. Vitamin supplementation is kind of the newer thing. I know a lot of women take this. Really, really works. Really, really works if you're balding or shedding. You should check this out. So that's the great thing with Glatt Hair. They do it all. Complimentary one-on-one consultation to pinpoint the best course of treatment for you. It's not about restoration. It's about innovation. Change your hair, change your life. Bald is optional. Give them a call today. Free consultation. You can get in there one-on-one. You can ask some questions over the phone. 610-980-4000. 610-980-4000. Glatt Hair Restoration. Online, glatthairmctr.com. glatthairmctr.com. All right, we have, sorry, I lost my page here. Oh, we have Ace is the place. Ace is the place if you need help like I do, right? And I hate going to the hardware store when I actually need to get something because I'm never really confident in what I'm doing in there. if it's a light bulb or something like that, but really anything else. That's why I love going to Ace, because I don't feel like a jackass when I'm in there asking a question, because there's lots of guys out there like me and you and us. Maybe not as pathetic, but also right now, Ace is your place if you have something going on in the home, right? Maybe you have a leaky faucet, your toilet's running, maybe you need a new toilet. Whatever it is, electrical work, Ace is there for you, Ace Hardware Home Services. You can get started on your next project with a free estimate. Again, air conditioning, something that you've been meaning to fix for so long, and your wife's getting on you about it. You don't have to be worried, like, well, I can't do it myself, and who do I trust? Who do I call for this? Ace Hardware Home Services. Wide range of residential maintenance, installation, and home repair services are available. That includes plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical. Free estimates. How about that? Equipment installation and replacement with trusted advisors and options that are best suited for your home and your budget. Emergency services. We've all been there. Available. AceHardwareHomeServices.com. Service you can trust, and satisfaction is guaranteed. We make it right no matter what. AceHardwareHomeServices.com to get started on your next project. All right, Phils and Mets, Game 3. Series is shifted up to Citi Field to discuss is my buddy, longtime Mets personality, podcaster. Oh, what's he wearing today? He's getting ready to see some baseball up in New York today. Jake Brown, what's up, Jake?
I love that I followed a balding ad. It really kind of lined up perfectly. Bald, though, so I'm not going to get hair restoration because I will stay bald.
Well, I was actually thinking of you when I was saying that I look scary bald, because you don't. You pull it off. You have if you're bald and you're going to shave your head, you can't have divots. You have to have the right shape of head, right? You have a nice, it's not circular, it's oval. There's no divots. There's no smash marks in there for being a New Yorker. Congratulations. You look good bald, Jake.
That might change if the Mets lose this series. I think a big reason I'm bald is watching this team for 33 years. I mean, they made me pull my hair out, and the collapse in 07, the collapse in 08, the 2006 Aaron Hallman curveball Adam Wainwright, who's now calling the games on Fox. God, some of these broadcasts are terrible, by the way. So that's why I'm bald, the New York Mets.
You were at Game 2. Jake was actually sitting a row above somebody that I grew up with, Colin Doherty. Doc, he sends me a picture. I'm like, is that Colin? Is that Colin? I mean, I haven't seen him in years. And you're like, yeah, it was. So you're at Game 2. What's the experience like? And you're wearing your Mets stuff, so you're not in there incognito. What was the experience like at Citizens Bank Park for you in Game 2?
I had a blast. Listen, it was rocking, and it was incredible to me, the difference from like when Vientos homers and you hear a pin drop to the Stott hit and you think there's an earthquake. Like the 0 to 180 shift is pretty remarkable. I don't have like the Evan Roberts story of, I saw someone nearly have sex or whatever the hell the story was, or I got things thrown at me. I was semi-incognito because I had my old podcast, Amazing But True shirt on, and no one in Philly knows what that is. If I wore a shirt that said, hey, I interviewed Desi Relaford, and he said Philly fans suck, then yes, they'd remember that interview because I was the talk of Philly radio that day. But I had a Mets gray hat as well, which I actually got complimented by a Philly fan outside. One of the guys outside said, I'm a Philly fan, but I do love that hat. So I was semi-incognito. The guy next to me went Saturday and said like they treated him poorly. So Sunday he came back in just a plain black shirt. So I don't know what happened to him Saturday, but personally, no terrible experience. Some F the Mets, some screw yous, nothing beyond, curse words, nothing beyond that. Had a blast and witnessed a classic game. I mean, that's one of the great playoff games we'll see, the back and forth, the swings that game took. So had a good time.
Yeah, and like listen, you're also a Met fan that goes to a lot of games, so we're kind of familiar with each other's behaviors. We realize we don't take it too seriously. You should never throw stuff at people or fight people, but we both fan bases like to get involved in the games for sure. So like I don't necessarily always believe in momentum, even in playoff series. But I believe in momentum. If the Phillies didn't hit in the last half of that game in Game 2 and we were headed up to Citi Field, I'd feel like holy hell right now as a Philly fan. They woke up a little bit. The Mets haven't stopped. I mean, we know what they're capable of doing, and we know what they do, especially from behind late in games. How do you feel as a Met fan and somebody that covers this team year after year? How do you feel about this series now that it's Game 3 in New York?
Listen, I'm a Met guy, so I'm more nervous now after they blew that game. I figured if they hammer that game home, if you put Stanek in instead of McGill in that ninth inning, I think the game goes a different way. You went with a guy who's never done that before in the playoffs in relief, and Tyler McGill, and you lose the game. And he had a chance to get out of it. He had Harper, nearly. He had Castellanos 0-2, and he blew it. So I feel pretty good, though. Listen, the Mets, this place is going to erupt. The Mets haven't seen a division series at Citi Field since 2015. It's been 9 long years since a freaking division series. We're not talking about the World Series here. So they've never witnessed a clincher as well in Citi Field history, by the way. The Mets have never clinched a series at home in their building since 2000 at Shea Stadium when they won the NLCS to play the Yankees in the World Series. That's 24 long years. So they're hoping they can win both, because I know what it's going to be like Friday night if they have to go back. I think they got their head horses going. Sean Manaea has been their ace this season. They have a chance for Kodai in 4, I think, if they can close it out, although I think he goes in game 5 in Philly. But they have options with Senga back, with Peterson being kind of this weapon as a reliever / starter. With Quintana, how well he's pitched, he'll likely start game 4, but they'll have arms ready. So I feel pretty good. I feel the momentum is kind of 50-50. The Phillies have been there before. It's not like they're going up against a team that hasn't shown resilience in October, but this Mets team feels like what the Diamondbacks did last year, like slide in the playoffs at the last second, ride the wave, but they're having fun with it. And as a Met guy, this has been incredible to root for. It's been incredible to watch, because the last year this team had no team chemistry. 2 years ago, there were a lot of guys in that clubhouse that didn't really like each other. This team all loves each other. I know Philly fans will rip the OMG sign. I saw someone say they want to bomb the OMG sign. Well, it's dumb. The Mets are dumb. They're a dumb franchise. They're full of gimmicks, but the gimmicks have worked, and it's added to the allure of what's been a fun year.
Baseball players are always looking for that thing to rally around. And as stupid as that sign is, you can tell it means something to these guys. It's kind of like their rally squirrel or rally monkey in Anaheim all those years ago. And I think it's stupid, but it works for them.
Well, John, they had a rally dildo and Mickey Callaway. They've come from the circus to the playoffs. Like, we're talking about, they were on The Greatest Showman, and it wasn't Zac Efron and Hugh Jackman. It was the guy who starred in Sharknado. It was a Sharknado cast, and now they're an Oscar-winning cast. So a lot has changed in Queens.
So you mentioned Manaea. Man, like, it's so hard to get deep in these games in the playoffs to where you're hoping your starter gets you through 5 or 6, right? Mets bullpen looked tired in game 2. Diaz didn't look the same. He was missing his spots. And when you look at what the Mets have needed to go through to get to game 3 right now, they played essentially a month worth of playoff games. They had to play a doubleheader on Monday. Then they had to win games in Milwaukee and then pivot right back to playing the Phillies. Meanwhile, the Phillies bullpen is rested, or certainly more rested, but they've been really ineffective. So, like, tonight, if you turn this into a game of bullpens, I still feel like the Phillies have the edge because they've had more rest, but it's still shaky. Nobody in the Phillies bullpen's really been good, and the Mets feel like that they're kind of slowing down a little bit there. So bullpen-wise, how are you feeling, and how much of this recent long stretch of games do you think is affecting them right now?
I eat a lot of chicken parm. I eat a lot of unhealthy food. But I think Edwin Diaz is worse than the food that I eat for my heart, for my health. You just can never trust this guy. He's a $100 million closer, and you cannot trust him. But I do think you got to factor in. You talk about the fan base in Philly, how rowdy it gets. The Mets get crazy when there's pitching change. Like, they have a whole light show. They have trains. It's kind of intimidating. Like, I get intimidated as a fan of that team when I go in there. So every time there's a pitching change and a Philly reliever comes in, there's all sorts of light shows. They shut the lights. They put a train out there. It gets rowdy. So that's something to factor. And I do think Edwin Diaz is far better at home with the trumpets, with Timmy Trumpet, with them, with the not even circus, but the parade that kind of happens when he comes in. The numbers show it. He's just a far better home pitcher than he is on the road. He's a choke artist on the road. He choked in a game in Arizona. He choked in a game in Atlanta. He choked in a game in San Diego, and he choked a game in Philadelphia. He's had some monumental choke jobs for this team, and luckily they've been able to rebound. So I don't feel great about Diaz, but I don't feel great about Maytone. I feel good about Stanek. We're talking about a guy who had a sub-1 ERA in the playoffs of the Astros 2 years ago, who's just a really good playoff reliever. Maytone the same, but I feel Maytone's a little bit gassed. I think yesterday's off day will help, but I don't feel great about this Mets bullpen. So I do hope Sean Manaea could go deep. and shove, but who knows? He's coming off a couple of outings where he wasn't incredible, but I think they're going to need the bullpen to get the job done.
Who's your who's your Met, right? Like when I was like Jake Brown, who's your favorite Met? Who's your go-to Met?
Currently or all time?
All time. When you think Met, this is the guy you say.
See, it's always been Mike Piazza. And then I got to interview him on Amazing But True, and we bonded over toilet paper that makes your butt bleed during the pandemic when there was a toilet paper shortage, and it was a moment for me. Then the second time we tried to have him, he declined coming on the show. So he like took a step down the pole for me once he declined the second time coming on. But all time is Piazza. David Wright's probably number 2.
Oh man, so you were the collapse in 2007. So you said you're 33, so you were like in high school, late in high school when that happened. God, that must have been painful.
Oh my God, 16-year-old Jake. I was on that Mordecai money, that bar mitzvah money, spending it all on sports memorabilia. And then the year after, they kind of collapsed again, and the guy on that team became my co-host, Nelson Figueroa, Philly, by the way. So Figgy, now a good friend of mine. And he was part of the collapse. So I heard about the stories, and it hurt. And this team needs to overcome collapses. They need to overcome all the ineptitude. And, it feels like destiny. And when Vientos homered in the 9th inning, this is where I thought I was going to get attacked. It got quiet, and I yelled out, "The comeback kids did it again." And everyone looked at me, and I thought I was going to get spit on. Luckily, I wasn't. But, this has to be the year. And if not, I do think they're headed in the right direction with Stearns, and they got the right manager in Carlos Mendoza.
Jake Brown, if you want to check out his Mets podcast, I don't know why you would, but if you want to check out his Mets podcast, Amazing with Jake, and then he's doing the Sick podcast for the Mets right now. It does post-game as well, so I'm assuming you'll be post-game tonight after the game, Jake?
We'll see how I'm feeling. I don't know about right after. We'll see about the service in the ballpark. We'll see about the game result. All those kind of factor into play. But yeah, the Mets Magic podcast. At least subscribe to my YouTube if you're watching, listening. Jake Brown Radio. I do food reviews as well. I forgot to post I love the burnt ends cheesesteak at Citizens Bank Park. I had to pop a lactate before I ate it, but that was very good, along with the Federal Donuts I enjoyed.
Yeah, you're constantly eating. I can imagine your cholesterol is not very good. I see it all the time. Yeah, it's Jake Brown Radio across all platforms as well, on Twitter and everything else. So check him out. By the way, my go-to Mets is it's weird. Gary Carter. It's that I hated that whole team. In the late 80s, the Mets were good. Like 86, they win a World Series, but still they were good after that. And every year, Mets fans would drive down 95 because in August and September, they were like trying to clinch the division. But the Phillies never let them clinch on the home field at Veterans Stadium. But it was McAllister, Hojo, Tim Tuffle, Keith Hernandez, Gary Carter, Kevin Mitchell on some of those teams. I hated those Mets teams. So when I think Mets teams, they're the first Mets that come to my mind. Is a little bit like the generation before your guys.
John, I wasn't alive. I've seen no championship. This is why I'm bald. This is my triglycerides is high. This is why I take fish oil every day. I am craving a title like I need air to breathe.
Well, I hope you don't get it, but appreciate it, man. Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good luck.
All right, there he is, Jake. There he is. Yeah, he's actually a good Met fan. He's a fun Met fan. It's all those creep Met fans that you don't have. So Tyler, you didn't state this before, but how confident are you coming in here today? And we're going to talk about some of the lineup decisions coming up in a second.
Yeah, my confidence level is exactly the same as it was heading into the series, with stops in elation and despair along the way. Sorry about that. I'm trying to reconnect to the show here. With stops of like elation and despair along the way, and the reason that is well, we'll get there eventually. They've put us through the gauntlet, right? They've put us through like an absolute ringer of emotions over the last 18 innings of baseball. Heading into the series, I said Phillies in 5, and after 2 games, I am still saying Phillies in 5. So has my confidence wavered? Or has my confidence level changed? No, but it's wavered significantly along the way.
But it also might be different, right? like while you might have had more confidence in the bullpen before, that might have shrank, right? Like it just kind of changes and shifts around. Yeah, I'm sorry I went to you. We're still having the same technical issues we had yesterday, to where Tyler's having to do like 1,000 other different things just to get us even on the air. And if you notice that he's a little bit off with his talking by like a tick or a tick and a half, yeah, it's because of these technical issues. So,
but yeah, I think that is that we've gone through every emotion you could possibly go through in 18 innings of baseball. And if you take out your fandom, your Phillies or Mets fandom in this series, you realize it's been a darn good, or at least Game 2 was a darn good baseball game, back and forth, punch counter punch type of thing. You've got to win a game at Citi Field. You kind of had to win a game at Citi Field no matter what. I mean, I guess theoretically you could just win all 3 at home and win in 5. It's
very, very rarely
right.
happens.
So you kind of knew you were going to have to win a game at Citi Field at some point. Now you have to win a game at Citi Field. You lose both, you're done. Your season's over. So
yeah.
I would feel more confident about winning today than I do tomorrow, based on the pitching matchup. And
for sure.
Because I know that Jake was talking about Manaea, and his splits are actually better against righties than they are against lefties, which is a little counterintuitive to him being a left-handed pitcher. But
right.
I think that I'm more worried about Quintana than I am about Manaea. So if you lose tonight and have to face Quintana tomorrow, that's where I would become a little bit concerned.
I don't want a closeout game in New York, and Jake talked about it. They haven't had a playoff game there since 2015. That place is going to be nuts tonight.
Of course it is.
You let them get up on you early. That's trouble. I do not want a closeout game in New York. You have to win this game tonight. You just do.
See, I mean, I don't think that this is a. I'm not in that. I'm not in the realm of like must wins when the series is tied and no one can win the series tonight. But it's crucial. I think it's crucial for both teams. I would have to go back and look at the numbers across 5-game playoff series of what the winning percentage of a team that wins Game 3 and also has Game 4 at home is. I bet you it's probably pretty high. But I think that there should be a feel of urgency. I wouldn't say there's panic. I wouldn't say there's but you're not like disgruntled.
But this game right here is a closeout game. Like, you have to treat this game as the closeout game tonight. Really, every game from here on out is.
I see. I don't know if I necessarily agree. I mean, you would put yourself in a really bad spot if you lose tonight and have to win the next 2, right? It'd be uphill climb. But I don't necessarily think it's like entirely detrimental to the success of this team. It would make things significantly more difficult.
I don't know, man. Now you got me worried. I was feeling confident coming in here.
Wait,
you got me worried.
How did I get you worried?
Yes. Well, just because I'm talking about
I'm trying to quell your concerns here a little bit about definitively losing a Game 3.
No.
What I'm saying is, yes, it's uphill sledding if you lose Game 3, but it's not the death knell.
All right, we got to let's get to this real fast, and then we'll close out. Because is Marsh and Stott going to be in the lineup tonight? Topper talked about it yesterday and gave an interesting answer. We'll play that coming up right after we talk about Bet Parks. That's right. All right, so listen, Bet Parks app. Got to check it out. You kidding me? Eagles are still 9-point favorites over the Browns on Sunday, which is incredible. 9-point favorites. But check this out. For the series, the Phillies still favored. But tonight's game, Phillies are actually a moderate favorite on the game right now. Still about a pick 'em, but you get a slight nod. Phillies minus 117, and the Mets are minus 103. So I like the Phils tonight. It's a coin flip. And I like the Bet Parks app. Man, you can live bet. I was watching the game last night, checking out the live odds on the Chiefs and the Saints. Odds are posted right now for the NFL week, for the rest of the MLB games. And an amazing 50-1 odds boost on your pick to win this year's Pro Football Championship. All new users who sign up and make a deposit receive a 50-1 super odds boost. BetParks.com has all the terms and conditions. And the BetParks app also has blackjack, roulette, or craps with a live dealer, an actual live dealer. If you like to play, you know where to go. All right, you must be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, or Maryland. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. BetParks. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Rite Aid. Prescriptions. stuff you need to get. That's why you go to your local Rite Aid. That's why I go to my local Rite Aid, which is in Royersford. And I have the Rite Aid app. Download it from the Apple App Store or Google Play. And, man, you get a lot of different great stuff, including, how about a My Pharmacy account? All right, refill your prescriptions, get personalized care recommendations, sign up for prescription notifications. You know when you ever get the prescription and you don't know you have it and it's sitting there and you're like, it's been there for 10 days. It's been there for a week. Get notifications from Rite Aid telling you, hey, your prescription is ready to pick up. How about enrolling in automated courtesy refills? All right, talk to your pharmacist about anything that's going on. That's what they're there for. Rite Aid. Transfer your prescriptions to Rite Aid today. Rite Aid caring pharmacists ready to answer your questions and help you stay healthy. Get your prescriptions along with anything else at Rite Aid you need. That includes over-the-counter medicines, household products, cosmetics, and more. Ask your pharmacy team for details. Restrictions apply. All right, do you have the topper sound there, Tyler Zulli? So yesterday, he talks about all three of them, all three things here at once, quickly and concisely. He's asked about Alec Bohm, is he starting? Then he's followed up with, well, what about Marsh and Stott? Here's Topper yesterday at the press conference.
What is your sense of Bohm's current headspace, and do you still intend to play him tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, he's playing tomorrow. And I think he's in a good spot. He was just in there hitting in the cages and getting his work in. I'm not sure if he's going to hit on the field today or not. So, but yeah, I think he's fine.
And will both Stott and Marsh sit tomorrow?
Oh, we'll see.
He gave him the wink at the end. So he didn't say, will they start? He said, will they both sit tomorrow? Which makes me believe that Marsh is not going to start and Stott will. Tell me if you agree with this, Tyler. I think that, and we both said it after he was benched for game 2, that he'll be back in the lineup.
Correct. Yeah, I didn't think there was any question that Bohm was going to be back in the lineup tonight.
But because he sat, you still have to ask the question and he has to answer it.
Of course.
To me, Marsh would be the player that makes the most sense to sit. You start Austin Hayes, and then Marsh is in there in the 5th inning. If there's if Manaea gives you 4 or 5 innings, next time that Hayes comes up in the lineup, you're putting Marsh in. So you're starting with a right-handed outfield, right-handed hitting outfield with Hayes, and then once they go to a righty or whatever, you can bring Marsh back in. But I think that would be my prediction what happens.
Brandon Marsh is going to play today. I don't believe Brandon Marsh is going to start today. I think it's going to be Austin Hayes in left and Johan Rojas in center. I do think Bryson Stott gets the start today. Productive at bats on Sunday night. I like his. I've always been a proponent of his glove at second base. I think he's a Gold Glove caliber second baseman. Not that Edmundo Sosa is a bad defender by any stretch, but I believe that Bryson Stott is a better defender, especially at the second base position. Plus the fact that he kind of had some better at-bats on Sunday night, instilled a little bit of confidence, I think, in your manager. I think you allow a kid in, I shouldn't say kid anymore, he's not a kid anymore. You allow a younger player, kind of confidence to grow into that, parlay that Sunday performance into this start today. If things go sideways, maybe you do see a pinch hit Edmundo Sosa the second time through. But I do think that Stott, Stott plays today and starts today. I think Marsh plays today but doesn't start today. I believe Austin Hayes will get the start. And then obviously Bohm there. I don't think there was ever any question that he was going to get the start in the third.
Agreed. Unless Sosa came in and killed it. But still, left-handed starter, I doubt they're going to start Sosa over Bohm. And Stott, like you had said, he gave you really good at-bats. He gave you a really good at-bat on the triple. Yeah. And I think it just makes more sense to keep him in the game, left on left. I would much rather – I think Stott plays the entire game, and just like you said, I think Marsh ends up coming in at some point. You
may even see an instance where Marsh Marsh comes into the game and plays left, and then if they go to, now I know they don't have many lefty relievers, but like let's say a David Peterson comes in late in the game, you may see him turn to Weston Wilson for a 9th inning pinch hit at bat. You know what I mean? Like you might see 3 outfielders play today.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
You're going to mix and match these at bats to play into your favor. Like just because Marsh comes in maybe the 4th inning against a righty or the 6th inning against a righty, if his time comes up through again and one of the few lefties in the back end of their bullpen is pitching, because we know Quintana's starting tomorrow. We think Quintana's starting tomorrow. They could use Peterson late in the game. If he's pitching, you might turn things right around and go back to Weston Wilson.
Yes, Marsh is he's a platoon player, a good platoon player, and he'll play against some lefties, but in spots like this, I don't.
No, this is postseason baseball. You gotta go with your best.
And I agree with
lineup.
you. I think Wilson could come in and play and get in a bat, depending. It's so nice that you can't go to the lefty for just one batter anymore. So it makes it.
Oh, you do like that?
Well, I like it when it works for the Phillies, or it makes it favorably for the Phillies. I don't definitely changes the game. So Bryce Harper, all right, and I feel like that because it's a lefty starter, and it's so much more difficult for lefties to hit lefties, except for Kyle Schwarber. But you know what I mean. Like there's less of an expectation when it's left on left. But Bryce Harper has been the player, and we've talked about it on the show. I've talked about it for a really long time, as a lot of other people. As Bryce Harper goes, the team goes. He really is he is the straw that stirs the drink. He's the guy. When he's confident and he's playing well, his team is playing well. And we saw him start the rally with the home run in Game 2. When Bryce Harper, and he has played 23 games. He's played 23 games as a Philly, postseason game as a Philly. Phillies are 11-0 when he's hit a postseason home run. He has 11 home runs. They haven't lost. Well, I don't even know if he has 11, but they're 11-0 when he hits a home run. 11-0. So if Bryce Harper hits a home run, the Phillies don't lose. When he doesn't hit a home run, they're 9-12, which is still relatively impressive. But still, when Bryce Harper hits a home run, they win. Bryce Harper has the third highest OPS all time in the playoffs. You have to have the minimum 150 plate appearances, but he's third all time. Tyler Zulli, would you like to guess the only two players that are ahead of Bryce Harper all time in OPS?
I know this answer because we talked about it on the Phillies show yesterday. Lou Gehrig is number one. And Babe Ruth is number two.
Number one.
Babe Ruth is number one. Lou Gehrig is number two.
Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and Bryce Harper.
Yeah, pretty good company to be in. And by the way, Jamie extrapolated the just his Phillies OPS. He actually jumps to number 2, I believe.
Wow.
If you take out the Nationals OPS.
Right.
By the way, Bryce Harper has now hit a home run in every postseason series he has played with the Phillies, with the exception of one, and it was the 2-game NL wildcard round against the Marlins last year.
Gotcha.
Where they didn't really need him to hit a home run anyway. They were going to win that series.
Yeah.
1 home run in 2 games against the Cardinals, 2 home runs in 4 games against the Braves, 2 home runs in 5 games against the Padres, 1 in 6 against Houston, 3 in 4 against Atlanta, 2 in 7 against the Diamondbacks, and now 1 in the first 2 against the Mets.
Wow. All right. Well, I'll tell you how I see the game going tonight. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I believe both bullpens are going to give up runs, and it's going to be another back-and-forth game. But the Phillies prevail 9-8. I think Aaron Nola comes out, keeps you in the game.
Smash the over.
Yeah, the over 7, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah. I don't know, but 17 or 16 or 17 or whatever it is, a lot more than whatever they're going to lay out.
I don't like the Phillies bullpen right now. And I have confidence in Aaron Nola getting you to the 6th inning, keeping you in the game. Aaron Nola is going to have a typical Aaron Nola start tonight. 3 earned runs, 4 earned runs on the high end. Keep you in the game. The offense needs to come through. This is such an offense game and a bullpen game. And I just don't feel good about the bullpen right now.
Well, I think the Mets feel confident against the Phillies bullpen. They've kind of shown it both vocally and with how they've played. You know, Vientos has been a demon against this team in the first 2 games. Alonso's gone deep against the bullpen. And guys have come in multiple back-to-back, appearances and given up runs. Ryan Kerkering's done it. Matt Strahm has done it. So, yeah, I talked to you about this before the series started, how I had like an innate confidence in the bullpen. Right now, they have struggled through the first 2 games. Do I expect them to get right and figure things out? I do at some point. This may just be bad matchups for the Phillies bullpen against a good Mets lineup. If there is a bullpen game today and it's heavy bullpen against for both or either team. I think the Phillies would benefit the Mets more than it would the Phillies because of the uncertainty of Ranger Suarez's start tomorrow in Game 4. I think Quintana gives the Mets confidence. I think Ranger Suarez, if you asked Rob Thompson, he would tell you he's confident in him. If you asked Rob Thompson with the truth serum, he would tell you there's probably a little bit of worry to it because he's not been very good since returning from the IL.
Right.
The pitching matchup tomorrow swings in the Mets' favor. I think for maybe the first time in the series, because I think I would take Nola slightly over Manaea. I think I would definitely take Wheeler over Senga, even though Senga at his peak is a stud. Just based on Game 1 with Senga only pitching a couple innings, you're taking Wheeler over their pitching staff. Game 2, you have the conversation of, Sanchez and whatnot. Tomorrow will be the first time I believe the Mets definitively have the pitching matchup on their side.
Yeah, I would agree. Need this one tonight. Win the night there, Tyler. So you're doing pregame. You have the watch along.
So we'll have pregame, a watch party, no watch along tonight.
We'll
be out at Gall & Co. In Port Richmond, and here you go. Here's our little graphic for you. We'll be there tonight. Pregame at 4:30. Watch party with all of our friends there. Miller Lite specials in Port Richmond, and then postgame show after the game, and we'll do it live from there as well. Win or lose, we'll be on the air as soon as the game ends.
And Jamie Lynch is a fun person to watch games with.
So, by the way, Jamie hates this picture.
I know he does.
He hates this picture. It's one of my favorite pictures of him because he hates it, and I get a good laugh out of it every time.
Yeah, but that's every picture he's in. What do you mean he hates that picture? That is the picture. That's every picture with Jamie. I wish I could make it down. I'm going to be in a softball practice for an 8, 9, and 10-year-old fall ball league. We didn't have enough players to play a game 2 weeks ago. We had to postpone it and push it back.
At least they didn't make you forfeit.
I'm real sorry about that we have to actually make it up. Thank God.
What would you have done without a Saturday afternoon fall ball game?
I was like trying to persuade my daughter, like, we don't need to play in the fall. It's not a lot of people playing, not a lot of kids playing in the fall. So we got to travel around. Whatever. Here's what I don't want. I don't want to show up to practice tonight at 5:30 knowing that it's like the second inning of the Phillies game and like 4 kids show up because their parents didn't want to bring them. I'll be pissed. So we better figure this out before it starts tonight. I'm not even an official assistant coach on the team. I just have coached before, and I wasn't really looking to do it this fall. But because there's not a lot of bodies, of course I'll step in and help out because I love doing it.
You cross the picket line. Your replacement coach.
I like doing the stuff. It's hard for us because we have different. My other kids have other stuff too. It's hard for both of us to go to every game, and I like going to, like, my daughter does cheer. I like going to her cheer stuff.
So I've said this before, and obviously I have some time. My son's not even born yet, but like I am so back and forth on if I want to coach or just be like fan dad.
Right.
Because I don't think I want to deal with parents as a coach, but I also don't know if I can like sit by idly if somebody is trying to teach my kid incorrectly, like fundamentals incorrectly.
Yeah, you just do it. You do that on your own time. I could have never coached any of them, and I would have been fine. But they were sending emails saying like, we need assistant coaches, we need help, and I'm like, all right, well. And I just stopped working at WIP, and it was like the whole reason that I quit was so I could,
spend
if I
some
wanted
time
to
with your
coach,
kids.
right?
Sure.
But it was fun. I was glad I did it, and I'll do it again in the spring. I didn't necessarily want to do it.
Frank
fall.
Barber says he's with you. He's missing the first half to coach flag football today.
Yeah, you got to do it. You know, like, all right, I'm not going to Target. Yeah, it's not a Target pickup, everybody. What's one other thing?
Probably could have held that one in your pocket. You probably didn't have to bring that one up.
But dude, like, when I talk about leaving to drive around with Matt Stairs' home run, just so people know, I'm not kidding. I cannot sit there and watch Phillies playoff baseball without needing to do something. By the way, shout out to the diehards out there. Good morning. Shout out, everybody. Just an update on a story that we talked about before. If you remember, my daughter's teacher on Friday, a Met fan, put a hat on her head and took a picture. A Mets hat on her head and took a picture. I was very unhappy about it. So yesterday we got some revenge. While she was not home, my wife and I and some other people went over and more or less toilet papered her yard. Put up.
You guys go like mischief night on this poor teacher's yard?
Well, we didn't see my instinct is sugar in the gas tank and egging houses, but we weren't going to do that. So yeah, like we got a bunch of signs and we wrote like honk if you're for the Phillies, Mets suck, Harper. Well, I'll post some of it to social media. So she came home and she saw it and she was she was laughing about it. She's like, you got me. So I knew you guys were going to do something. So, yeah, we got her back a little bit. All right, go Phils. Pre-game coming up today. Join Tyler, Manaea, and Jamie. And then, hey, listen, go out and check them out. Watch party. These games are a lot of fun to watch out. So go support your local tap room. Go out and watch the games. And damn it, win Game 3, Phillies. Because coming in here tomorrow morning down 2-1 is not going to feel good. We're prepared to do it, but we don't want to do it. Get out there and get a win today. Appreciate everybody. Remember, subscribe to us on YouTube, like, comment, etc. And also, you can listen to the audio version of the podcast. Tyler gets it up right now. And so every day about 9 o'clock, it is available for you to listen wherever you get your podcasts. Click over to Anthony. He is live right now. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.